cold weather's coming. It's pumpkin spice season, people. Welcome to Flying for Flavour. I'm your host, Stephanie Piche. And Cynthia and I was going to say we're alone again today, but we brought a friend.
We have Rory. Rory's like, I don't want to be on camera. Mom, go away. She says, hi.
It's her first time being on YouTube. I'm sure she's very excited.
You can tell, just look at her. She's super excited.
But I made a flatbread today, so I think she really doesn't care that we're here.
She's just sniffing the flatbread.
She's just sniffing the flatbread. So we wanted to have, this was not a planned episode up to about a week ago. Yeah. I think it was like an online text war between Cynthia and myself, and even Stacy was getting in it. Stacy chimed in. I like pumpkin spice as a spice blend. That's my caveat. I just find that as a marketing professional, it drives me bonkers when people don't get creative on their own and they just want to jump on the bandwagon for somebody else. It bothers me that, yes, it's fine for a little bit, but it's been a long time. So we thought we'd have the pumpkin spice debate. So before we get into that, we need cocktails. So she brought the non-alcoholic stuff.
I did, because you cannot have a debate and discussion about pumpkin spice without bringing in your pumpkin spice latte. And in my case, your pumpkin spice chai latte from Starbucks. So I stopped on our way and we got our Starbucks drinks.
For those who are listening on the podcast, you didn't see my gag face. But
it was the text I got. She's like, are you kidding me? I said I'd make us drinks.
You're a cruel woman. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I went on to the LCBL website and I looked for older registered pumpkin, and there's all kinds of recipes that came in there, and a couple of them that intrigued me that I'm going to experiment because I haven't tried these before. So the first one is a pumpkin ale shandy. So I went to my local LCBO because I can only have to buy one can, and I got the Lake of Bays pumpkin ale to give it a whirl because we also have to stay somewhat local to a certain extent. And in the base of this glass, instead of lemonade, this is actually a lemon simple syrup. So you'll see the instructions in the link in the show notes. It is basically half and half, so half simple syrup and half fresh lemon juice. You can actually make it all up. So you put the lemon juice in at the end, you let it cool, and you can leave that in your fridge. So that just gives a little bit of a citrus. So maybe for cocktails, yes, it'll be fun. So I don't know how this lemon and the pumpkin will work, but we'll give it a whirl. I'm eyeballing this. So there's, basically you can just add as much as you want. I want to taste the lemon in it though.
Well, it looks kind of like it's like 2 ounces of that lemon simple syrup, and you've probably got about 4 ounces right now.
And considering you're not a beer drinker,
we're going to stick with the 4 ounces.
We're going to stick with more lemon to the pumpkin ale. I just wanted to smell this. It still smells like beer. Yeah. I asked the guy at the LCBO, and I said, have you had this one? Is it any good? And he went, well, it depends on how much, like, what style of pumpkin ale you like. I was like, there's more than one?
Of course there is.
I was just so excited that I found one. Okay, and then the other one, for those of you who caught our the cocktails basics one that Cynthia and Deke did when I was away, I didn't get to sample. This is the pumpkin spiced whiskey by Spicebox, and I happened to find a pumpkin whiskey recipe on the LCBL site too. So I thought I'd give that one a whirl. Oh, I got to go to the fridge and get it.
That's all right. While you go to the fridge, I can explain why I'm wearing my toque right now.
Okay, I have to go and get the mix.
Awesome. And so for those who are the visual, and I'm totally going to take this toque off because I'm inside and I feel ridiculous. But one of the things about pumpkin spice, and I think one of the reasons, and we might debate this a little bit about why people are really down on the pumpkin spice phenomenon, is that it's become quite trendy, even though it was introduced like 15 years ago.
Phenomena.
Thank you. Phenomenon.
It is. One? I just like saying
Don't do that. Phenomena. Do.
I was waiting for you to catch on. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
So anyway, so it's kind of known if you're out there, and especially BuzzFeed's got a lot of really great kind of silly articles and discussions about it, but about the idea of the basic bitch. And the basic bitch is your young woman. I'm a little bit old, but I'm an old basic bitch. But a young woman who follows all the trends. So, for example, today I'm wearing my soft, cozy leggings because it's winter with my flannel shirt. And if I was a little thinner, I'd have my big, bulky sweater over as well, too. I have to have my trendy knitted cap that actually probably has no function because it doesn't cover my ears, but it does cover my hair when I'm having a bad hair day. I have my boutique toy dog dressed in a tutu because, you know, every basic bitch needs to have her cute little purse dog. And, of course, my pumpkin spice. And the pumpkin spice latte is like almost like the traditional, the signature drink of the basic bitch. So for more on the basic bitch, I'll throw a link up for us to a basic bitch quiz. I did it and I got like 100% basic.
I am so
Are
not
you
basic.
surprised? I know, yes.
I am so not basic. I was looking. You're going through all their checklists. I'm like, don't have. I've got the leggings.
You have the
like
leggings. You don't wear the Uggs. Oh God, no! If it doesn't have a heel, Steph's not wearing it.
Far from basic.
Well, and it's funny because my teenage daughter, who's 14, last year she came home from school and she was like, "I have to shave half my head," and I was like, "What? Why do you need to shave half your head?" So because one of the girls at school said I looked basic, and I can't look basic. So we went through what basic meant. I'm like, this is basic. Is this really that bad? This year she'd be like, "Oh God, yes, I don't want to be anything like you." But then last year she was like, "Okay, well, no, that's not so bad." I said, "It's just that typically the basic girl is the girl that happens to follow the trends. The difference is that I kind of was already into these trends before they became trendy. Is the difference.
You were ahead of the curve.
I was wearing the flannel back in the 90s and eating the pumpkin pie back in the 80s. Rory's going after the pumpkin spice treats we have.
Okay, and I'll go in there. We'll get started on the industry updates in a little bit,
Please.
just so that before the dog goes crazy. So I topped up that Spice Box whiskey with iced tea. So for those of you who happen to love iced tea, this is just kind of like a little warm up.
So which one are we trying first?
Well, I figured since you like the whiskey, and then we'll bring this. And I wanted to show you. We'll leave it. I just have plain potato chips here because I figured that kind of goes with everything, and I didn't want to counteract the flavors of the other stuff. Did I put enough whiskey in it?
Yeah,
I can smell it.
it's got like a caramelly taste to it.
It does.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
It's not
It's
as
a
bad.
fall drink.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Already.
Yeah. And it's only I'm really getting into whiskeys right now, but I was concerned that the pumpkin spice was going to overwhelm it and I wouldn't taste the whiskey anymore. So that's not bad. So now this one is that, and you're not a beer drinker.
Yeah, it smells pretty beery.
Much better with the lemon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got that ratio better.
Oh, that's good.
Not bad, eh?
That's like those fruity beers you guys were feeding me a few shows ago.
Yeah, that's not bad. Okay.
That's good.
All right. So they're both I think they're both kind of winners. So you'll have the links to those so you don't have to go digging through the LCO website. So I just wanted to show you because it's fall. So this is the very first flatbread recipe that I think I posted on my website.
Oh, yeah?
Or not even in this website, my old catering company website.
I'm going to totally interrupt us and we're going to take a picture of it. So we can make sure that because it's pretty.
Yep. This is pretty that there's a picture on the website, but I don't think it's as pretty. And I also have the cheese underneath as opposed to on top.
That's good.
So it's super easy and it's all your fall flavors. And I just thought almost every single thing on here would go with pumpkin. So besides the flatbread, so there's bacon because everything's better with bacon. Green apple slices. So it's tart and
nice.
sweet.
Yeah.
And then there's white cheddar. Because white cheddar is just going to give it a little bit of extra salt and punch to it. And then just before you serve it, you drizzle it with maple syrup.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, some industry updates. I only had 2 scheduled before I got here, and then, of course, something else pops up in my Twitter feed before I left, so I thought I had to add it in. So the first thing is the Master Sommelier scandal. So if you're not sure, sommelier is the certification that wine stewards can achieve, or any wine aficionados or wine lovers or whatever, that basically give you this full knowledge and certification that you have a certain level of understanding about wine and can teach it and can conduct or with great expertise when it comes to creating a wine program. And then the Master Sommelier, there's only 274, I believe, right now in total.
Worldwide.
Yep. So they were writing the exams, the final exams there was 24 people writing their final exam a couple of weeks ago. And something somewhere happened. They haven't released all the details yet. So it's like a little bit, that's what I mean by scandal. Mm-hmm. That they had to cancel. They basically had to null and void the exams for 23 out of the 24 of them.
Oh.
Because somehow they found out that one of the one of the judges slipped some information about the tasting portion of the exam to one or more of the exam writers. So when that happens, because there's 3 sections, there was one person who had already done the tasting exam ahead of time.
And not the rest of them.
Yeah, so he had already wrote the tasting portion of the exam ahead of time, or he had passed it before. So he was the only one who only had to write the 2 sections.
That's awful because other people are going to get
So all
penalized,
23,
right?
that's right. So right now they don't know who and where the information flowed through. So they're not divulging who that board member is or whatever, but there's all kinds of speculation online. So if you kind of Google around, I'm sure you'll find it. But those 23 people have the opportunity, they are letting them write again. But they're going to refund their fees from the first time,
It's not
the whole
a cheap
thing.
process.
No, it's not. So it's like $1,000 for each of the sections, and there's like exams going up to that point. There was one person that was commenting that they're almost giving up on the process and they're not even going to write again. And my thought is that, really? You went through all that trouble?
Like, if you've gone that far, I may as well
right?
finish
Do
it.
the exam again, yes. So that should be interesting. There's going to be, if you really want to see what the behind the scenes of that part of the industry's like for the master, look for the documentary called SOM. So it's SOMM. I'll try to see if I can put the link on there too.
I've got to watch it.
Yeah, it's fascinating because the people who are studying for this, they live and breathe wine 24/7. All they're doing is tasting, making notes, tasting, making notes, tasting, reading, tasting, making notes. And they do that for so long to get to that point. The only thing I always found sad and that what kind of bothered me is that I know one of them said they've never left their hometown. And I thought, you haven't experienced life or gone anywhere. You haven't gone to see any of the wine regions, even in your own country.
So how can you be an expert if you've never experienced it?
But that's
you're book smart, but not actually. You don't actually know the knowledge.
so
but we've talked about that's why you've never gone for your sommelier, because you prefer to learn
Mm.
in the spaces, right?
Because what I was planning to do with it, I was doing it out of general knowledge and for introductory teaching, and it wasn't because I was planning to, run a wine program at a restaurant, maybe my own wine bar at some point, but I'm not planning to go in and go up those ranks myself. That's not what I wanted to do for my career, so it didn't seem worthwhile for me. I'd rather take the money and travel.
Yeah.
Again, hence the name of the show. All right. So second industry update. Parks Canada is authorizing the use of marijuana in campsites.
Weed Wednesday tomorrow.
Weed Wednesday.
Tomorrow's the day.
So the interesting thing is I saw a huge discussion on Facebook, people back and forth, and there are people complaining and how it's going to smell and da-da-da. But the way the Parks Canada's response was, so this is mostly for national parks. So this would be your Algonquin Park, some of the larger ones across Canada. So this is Parks Canada making the set of rules for theirs. Now what they're saying is that as long as you're in with your own campsite, that does not mean any of the other
Like the public.
yeah, like
areas?
the common areas, the kitchen areas, the beaches, the wandering around the streets, that kind of thing. If you're in your own campsite, sitting around the fire, whatever else, you're by all means do it what you want, but you just can't do it off of your campsite property.
It's the same as smoking already, isn't it?
It is, and that's what some of the debate is. There's some people complaining about, saying, well, you're okay with smoking and drinking, and right now that's the same rule, even with provincial parks, having to do with alcohol must be consumed on your own campsite as well.
I think that's my big concern, because I had someone ranting the other day on my own kind of timeline saying that, well, I'm allergic to cannabis, and now you're going to be smoking it, and I'm going to have to worry about my allergies. And I'm like, I've been allergic to cigarette smoke for 40 years. And I've had to endure it and walk through the clouds to go into restaurants and then have choking fits and all the rest. And someone lights up a cigar near where I am, I have an asthma attack.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I can respect that, if someone is allergic, it's frustrating. But I mean, I've had to go through it for 40 years. So legalizing cannabis in the same kind of space, I mean, it's going to affect different people, but it's no different than what we've experienced as
And
non-smokers.
I hate to say it, when you go through all allergies, and of course we're going to get
Everybody's
some hate
got
mail
one,
on
right?
this, people have different allergies for different things. For the same reason, did you hear footsteps in the office building?
This is a live recording, Rory. We need to talk about the fact that you are seriously interrupting it. Servers can interrupt. People pouring wine can interrupt, but not boutique dogs. Do you hear me?
I think she's so concerned that Norm's going to come back in.
I think she's afraid Norm's going to come back.
Because he's so scary.
Stop it.
Because he's so scary.
Right? He's so big and so scary and so whatever.
Intimidating. So anyways, my thought is that other people have allergies as well. There are some people who have airborne allergies to all kinds of things. And they also have to make their way around public life.
Nuts, fragrances.
Exactly. And they don't expect people to be changing the way they live because of it. It's disappointing, and I know it's frustrating, but unfortunately those are the things that are going to have to happen.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of any change is always difficult, but we're going to do an entire episode on
cannabis.
Well, it's going to be on how, I want to talk about how it's going to affect the wine industry. There's even some. That's kind of what I want to put a spin. Everyone's going to be talking about
I think
cannabis
the food
a lot over the
industry
next
as
little
well
while.
too. I mean, the fact that are there going to be brownie cafes now, with they have over?
Yeah, there probably will be things like that. I'm just concerned about the effect on alcohol sales.
Yeah.
There are some wineries that may have not been as profitable. There's a couple of them, I know there's one in Niagara that was talking about that it's sold to an owner, and the new owner is ripping up the vines and planting cannabis instead because it is more profitable right now. So how is that going to affect the wine industry going forward? So I thought that's going to be another show. We might bring in a audience for that one because I think there'll be a lot of debate for that.
An interesting discussion.
And then the last thing I found, which I thought was kind of cool, so I guess there's an American supper club called Make America Dinner Again. I know it sounds tacky. I thought it was a bad name. Like, could you not come up with something better? But obviously it caught CBC's attention because they just put it on their website. So Make America Dinner Again essentially is that somebody's starting a supper club where they specifically pick and choose people to come to the dinner who it's all potluck, and they mix up the political leanings. On purpose. So to teach people how to have civil discussions, knowing that you can disagree, that kind of thing, and still have a meal together.
So is it meant to be just like a general, like a gathering of different people, or is this something that's like meant to be like shared publicly?
I think it's just I think it's supposed to, I don't think they share much of it. I mean, they may do little promos here and there, but for the most part, I don't think they do. I think they keep it. Yeah. So I think it started in California. And now they're moving up north. So I guess they were up in the Washington area, which is close to the Canadian border. Yeah. So I think that's where it kind of CBC picked up the story. So I think it's a cool idea. I think that people need to entertain more as it is. Yeah. I know that I'm guilty of it. I get caught up in just life and work and everything else, and so we don't have a chance to chat with people and have differencing of opinions aside from me and you.
But what I love about what we do, and you know what, I've got another girlfriend that we do have and her political leanings are so different from yours as well too. So it's like this three kind of triumvirate. But we all like agree to disagree. It's like, you know what, I don't agree with the way you think, but I mean, how cool that we can have these discussions and still maintain friendliness afterwards. Yeah. You know,
still not going to drink pumpkin spice lattes.
You like this? What? Not the shandy, the iced tea one.
Yeah, actually, I don't mind either one. Just because I have to cut back on all the beer that I'm drinking because I get older and I can't consume it the way I used to. But yeah, I can see because the whiskey I find's got a little bit more of a high sugar content.
This is like caramelly tasting. Ooh. That's what I find. It tastes like caramel.
Yeah, like that burnt sugar kind of. Yeah, no, it's good. It's a little sweeter for me. I couldn't have like.
You don't want a lot of them. Yeah, in the same way.
But I can see some whiskey drinkers out there will be like, oh yeah, I'm into that. Okay, so just give you some history on the whole pumpkin spice thing. So as she mentioned, started off about 15 years ago. So 2003.
Good guess.
Good guess, actually. Exactly 15 years ago. Starbucks debuted it in the fall of 2003. So even though it is now popping up in about 50 different countries, pretty much the formula and everything's still the same. And then from there, one of the things, there's all kinds of debates on why. The smell, yes, reminds you of memories of fall and big sweaters and all that kind of thing. I think that's part of it. But I also think that that's the part that I thought, okay, that was good. I get it. Stop. And then from there, I found, this is where I'm going to use the term bastardization. They took the great concept of having a pumpkin spice blend, and the spices are.
So you've got your cinnamon, your nutmeg, your cloves, and ginger. So this is where I think we start out agreeing. That idea that, from the dawn of time, as long as I can remember, that spice blend is my favorite spice. It's why I love chai lattes, because you've got the similar spice blend in that. And pumpkin pie was like our favorite dessert from forever ago. So the spice blend itself is fantastic, and I think that it's almost one of those things where it existed solely in the pie, a lot of cases, and now it's kind of branched out into other things.
Well, and I think part of the reason that I was never a huge fan of the pumpkin spice latte is because it's sweet.
It's very sweet.
Right? They have a sweeter base. I think they call that the sweet base or vanilla base or whatever they do.
It's basically sugar with some milk and some more sugar.
See, and that's the whole thing. As much as even the concept of pumpkin pie, I make it. I make pumpkin desserts all the time and cheesecakes and jelly rolls and all kinds of things every year. And I'll taste it and I don't mind the spice part of it, but anything that's too sweet just turns me right off. So I think it's that sickly sweet part of the pumpkin spice that bothers me. And I think that's the only reason that, like, I would probably have this spice whiskey on the rocks.
Yeah.
Right? Like as a sipper, that's closer to my style than the iced tea was great, but now it really accentuates the sugar content and the alcohol, and that's just a little bit too much for me. And that's where I find that the entire marketing concept of this is just taking it sideways.
Well, and that's where you get the young people, and I say young people loosely. I mean, but the reality is it tends to be that kind of like the university set, the college age set that tend to get into it right away, because it's kind of like their gateway to coffee as well too, right? Because I know when I first started drinking coffee, it was like the little tiny university coffee that was maybe that size with 10 sugars and 9 milks. You know, that was like, because we didn't have pumpkin spice lattes back when I was in university. But I think it's that sweetness of it. Now, the big question is, why is it taken off so much more than, say, the caramel has?
Or a classic mocha, right? Or that half hot chocolate, half coffee, which is also used to be a gateway thing, right?
Bitter.
If you do the hot chocolate, the sweet one, it's not as bad. But again, it's that I think those sweeter drinks that Starbucks initiated or got people hooked on to start off with and spent so much time having. And yes, it's a pick-me-up because it's sugar and everything else. So it's that sugar caffeine rush. So if you're going to have coffee to stay awake, you might as well have something that you enjoy.
And they've done a really good job of tying it in with fall, with the fall colors, with, you know, sitting by the fire and you're putting your big cozy sweaters on for those things that we love about fall. Quite frankly, like I was joking, I don't know if we can see it in this the same way. No, it's not. The last time I got a pumpkin spice chai latte, it was orange. Like orange. Like this one is not orange, so I'm scared. I'm like, what is the difference between this one and the one I had last week? So, but again, a lot of the flavors and a lot of the marketing around it is very orange. Like if we look at, I've got some other stuff that we can talk about as well that's got like pumpkins and the fall acorns and things like that on the packaging. So the tie-in with the season is really strong. And being a limited time thing, you're creating
not
this huge
that
excitement.
limited anymore.
It is though. It is, because I can't get my pumpkin spice chai latte in the summer, my friend.
No, but it is still is. They're going longer.
It's getting
and longer.
I agree. It's getting longer.
I was also commenting to somebody who was getting very excited online about Christmas coming.
Oh.
So I had to remind her that, you know, we haven't even had Halloween yet, and every year
my birthday,
all of
Halloween,
these retail seasons come earlier and earlier, and Starbucks is just as guilty of the creep. Meaning that they keep pushing it earlier and earlier because, yes, the pumpkin spice latte, #PSL, used to kick off right basically when fall started. Yeah. Well, fall doesn't start until the third week of September. And now they're basically launching the season.
Back to school.
Correct. So now they're starting a few weeks. So now it's going to be, right? Things are going to extend a little bit longer because technically the pumpkin spice latte is not specific to fall and autumn. It's more about cold weather. So I can see them extending it even longer now, depending on what the seasons are.
Which makes me very happy.
Yeah. All right. That makes one of us. So one of the other cool things, so a couple of other stats I thought was kind of cool. I said in 2015, nearly 4 out of 10 American consumers bought something pumpkin flavored.
Wow.
So there's basically 40% of you crazy pumpkin spice nuts out there.
I'm all right with that.
Okay.
We're cool people.
Okay.
We're fun to have around.
So the couple of things that I thought were strange, most of these would be in the States, but if you find any, please send us pictures. We always want to see the craziest products out there. So white pumpkin pie M&Ms threw me for a loop.
I've had those.
Yeah, that's not, again, the sugar. Pumpkin spice ice cream. The beer, of course, is not a big deal. The Pepperidge Farm cookies, which I just saw in the grocery store the other day.
Well, you get the Pillsbury... You should have pictured them. The Pillsbury pumpkin spice cookies, like a pumpkin spice cookie with white chocolate chips.
No, it's cream cheese flavored chips.
They're yummy.
They're still called cream cheese flavored, which means
it's still basically like
it's a sugar base. Yeah, okay.
Chemical shitstorm cookies.
Exactly. Krispy Kreme Donuts puts out something
Those
every year for it. No, you're not even convincing me. And then Cough Drops is another one. And I actually saw on this website, if I can find the photo, and then I'll put it here. Extra gum.
I've seen that.
And my thought is, do you want your breath smelling like pumpkin spice?
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up. Okay, so I brought some products that I have at home that are pumpkin spice because we are a pumpkin spice house. So this is what my children are eating for breakfast every day. So for those who are listening, it is pumpkin spice Cheerios. And they're very yummy. I'm going to pour some. I'm going to make Steph have some in a bit. But here's the interesting thing. And one of the other reasons why I have Rory here today is because my sister-in-law bought Rory for her birthday pumpkin pie treats. And pumpkin is a common ingredient in a lot of dog treats. So I kind of teased off of that. But
I'm not mad at pumpkin. I actually like pumpkin. It's the pumpkin spice sugar thing.
So these are Rory's toothbrushes.
Oh.
So every day Rory gets, after she goes for her walk, she gets her toothbrush and she's already poked, like, oh, I can smell it. Usually they're mint, like we get her mint ones, but these are pumpkin spice.
So she can have pumpkin spice breath?
She has pumpkin spice breath, and honestly, it is foul. Like, it's not pleasant at all. But she's like, I smell my
stated my
toothbrush.
point. Pumpkin
So that's
spice
why I
breath
laughed when
is
you said,
never
do you want
good.
your breath to smell like it? I'm like,
Oh.
Rory actually has pumpkin spice toothbrushes that she uses. I see she hears the word toothbrushes. Am I brushing my teeth, Mom? In a bit, Rory. So yeah, even the dogs can now have their pumpkin spice treats.
No thanks.
I mean, does my dog really need nutmeg and cinnamon and ginger? Maybe for her tummy.
But I can see how the aromas of those spices, though, would intrigue the dog. They smell them or whatever, and not to mention, yeah, it's cool to say you have them.
Honestly,
like
they're
dog care.
appealing to the basic bitches with their toy dogs who want their dogs to have the same matching treats that they have. That is the marketing ploy. And I mean, as much as you criticize it from a marketing standpoint, they're geniuses about it.
I'm just, it just like stretch a little too far, right? Then there's body wash, and and then there's like, I think I saw a lip balm once. Like, there's a nail polish color. I forget which company's got it. I think it's Essie that has pumpkin spice latte. It's like a glittery, orangey stuff on a dark.
So here's my question: what about like cinnamon and ginger candles, or
no? And I love ginger.
nutmeg and clove candles? Like, it's the same thing. It just got a name.
I know, but it's always like this sweeter version of, and I think that's what
And
bothers me.
you just don't like the sweet. I think
It's
is what
that.
coming down
It's
to.
that. Yeah, it's because it's not like pumpkin's one thing, spices are another. As soon as you go the pumpkin spice, they automatically make it sweeter. So
That's
the candles.
what pumpkin pie is, right? Because I think it all originates from that flavor of pumpkin pie, which is a sweet pie.
Yeah. Sorry, still not.
Do you
good.
like pumpkin pie?
It's okay. Like, I'd have a bite of it, but it's not a. It's like oh my god, I have to have it.
Whereas for me, it is every year. It is the oh my god, I have to have it. Like,
See, like Thanksgiving, my mother always makes. She's supposed to make 2. Like, seriously, there's like 6 of us for dinner, and she still makes 3 pies.
you have the
So-
3 flavors.
So the pumpkin pie, usually Norm and Brie and my mom have that one. And then she makes an apple pie because that would be my dad. So he'll have the apple pie, which is fall. And then for some reason she decided to make a cherry pie, which was mine.
Which is American.
Cherry
As
pie?
American as cherry pie.
Cherry pie. I also like peach pie, which is also
Which
American.
is also very American.
Uh-huh.
American.
American.
Make America great.
But make America dinner again. Okay. Again, change the name of it, guys. That's all I'm saying is that I understand you're trying to grab that little line. Again, it's the unoriginal marketing that drives me bonkers. Okay, so I've stated my piece, and then you can state yours.
I love how she's got notes. In her notes, she's got Cynthia Pro, and it's blank. And she has
Because I
Stephanie
figured-
Against, and she's got this whole list.
Things I wanted to why it bothers me.
Yeah.
So I just think, it's just overdone. It's took too far. And then I wrote, sometimes they call it like pumpkin spice just to give it the name, but it's
And it
not
doesn't
really
have either.
pumpkin spice.
And it doesn't
Like,
have either.
right?
That's
Just
my
because
thing.
you put in like cinnamon, don't
Does not
call
make
it
it
pumpkin
pumpkin
spice.
spice.
So there's
Yeah.
a lot of that bothers me. Then again, the artificial, like sometimes like those
agree.
cheap candles or something like that, or sometimes you get like a body hand lotion or something.
I agree.
It's just this artificial smell. Like, it doesn't smell anything like it. And again, the sweetness bothers me. So I mentioned chewing gum there. Most dairy products. Luckily, I haven't found a pumpkin spice cheese yet, but I'm sure there's someone out there trying to tackle one.
There's got to be like someone doing like a goat cheese or like a soft spreadable.
Yeah, there's one. I know there's a yogurt for sure, so I'm sure cream cheese is out there. I know there's a dairy creamer that you could get for your coffee, which is the shortcut for your lattes. I know that one of our only local winery up here in Northern Ontario, Boreal Winery. I don't know if they do it every year, but they were making a pumpkin ice wine or a pumpkin dessert wine. So I haven't tried it, and I like ice, and I do like ice wines. Again, small portions. I guess it was just the
I
pumpkin.
wasn't a fan of it because I don't like an ice wine. Like, I find ice wines too sweet.
Oh, see, that's really,
Like, you'd want a quart of ice cream.
yeah, no, that's what's weird, eh? So I don't like anything on the sweet, but give me ice wine and Sauterne and dessert wines, and
Yeah, and I don't like any of those.
But I also like it's also very small amounts though. Like, you don't have like a glass of ice wine.
I know.
I just have to remind people you don't have a glass of ice wine.
So for my friend Nicole who's listening, even having a glass of ice wine with Tabasco sauce in it's still not good.
Still never had me having that. And then the last thing I thought was really strange, and if I can find the picture of it, there's somebody actually found a pumpkin spice burrito out there.
Oh yes. What would you put on a pumpkin spice burrito?
I don't know. I just saw the photo. It was not appetizing. Not going there. So, all right. So I've said what I don't like. So now tell me, besides the fact that it just makes you feel good.
Well, I think that's why anyone likes pumpkin spice. So here's my thing. So my favorite flavors are vanilla and cinnamon and caramel. So the cinnamon is a very predominant smell and taste in pumpkin spice. So your cinnamon, your nutmeg, your cloves, and your ginger. So again, for me, it's the pumpkin pie is literally one of my favorite desserts. So again, I'm indulged, get this chance to experience my favorite desserts. Same way other people like chocolate. So you've got people who love chocolate or love vanilla, and they want all of the things like chocolate milk.
I'm such a hard one to please.
She is, and she wonders why I've never had her over for dinner.
No, I'm not. When it comes to food stuff, just desserts are just not my thing.
But that's the thing, like, because you can get chocolate in all of these same things that you've described. Okay, maybe not chewing gum, but pretty much everything else you can get chocolate.
Oh, I think you can get chocolate chewing gum too.
Oh, probably. And caramel and those kinds of things. So pumpkin spice is just one of those flavors. So I have the same beef where when there isn't actually any pumpkin or isn't actually any of the pumpkin spices in it, I agree that to me is just not worth doing. But I love, like even I mentioned earlier that I'm going to provide a recipe to make your own pumpkin spice latte at home. It literally has a scoop of pumpkin and some pumpkin spice and some condensed sweetened milk to get those actual components of what pumpkin spice is. So I think that it's that idea of the marketing. There's no question that the marketing is what's made it as popular as it is. It's not even necessarily the flavor. Even though people have loved the flavor, we wouldn't have pumpkin pie every Thanksgiving if it wasn't a popular flavor to begin with. But it's that emotion, right? Anything that sells. I mean, for most people, or a lot of people, I shouldn't say most people, but for a lot of people, food and consumption of beverages is an emotional experience. And so you're tapping into those. It should be. Right? And you're tapping into those emotions and that feeling of coziness and comfort and stuff that comes with fall. And that's why I think the marketing is brilliant. But I mean, I like anything else. Anything is marketed to death, or anything can be marketed to death. And when someone sees something that's successful, someone else is going to jump on the bandwagon and take advantage of it. This is just one that's gone very successfully, and I suspect because it crosses a lot more generations than we realize. And it takes a season that traditionally can be almost depressing if you're not into everything turning dark and bleak and it getting colder again, and gives you that warm and says the anti-winter girl. But it gives you that something to look forward to in that season as well too. But from a flavor wise, if I didn't like the taste of it, I wouldn't be down on it either. But I think that it's easy to armchair say, well, if anyone likes pumpkin spice, it's because they're jumping on the bandwagon. And there are definitely people who are doing just that. Like there are people who are buying these things just to buy them. I genuinely like the flavor, so I want to try. And if I like the cereal is okay. I like Cheerios. I like my chocolate Cheerios better. We have chocolate peanut butter ones now too. They're really yummy.
Oh my God.
But at the end of the day, if you don't like those flavors, if you don't like cinnamon, you don't like ginger, you don't like nutmeg and cloves or any of those things that are put together, then it's not for you. And there's no judgment there, I don't think.
I can see how it does hit certain emotional triggers, and I can see that, and what gives you comfort. I mean, for me, when fall comes, I start choosing darker. I start having my little tipple, like more of the brandies, cognacs.
I love my darker red wines.
Darker red wines. I liked stewed things. Someone served me a bowl of soup the other day. I was so excited just to have a bowl of soup. But it was one of those things, like those kind of things hit those emotional spots for me. And I think that's one of those things that I guess it's because it's not so much that I hate pumpkin spice. I think it's the fact that people who love it are in shock and awe and angry almost that, what do you mean you don't like it? Like, you're just crazy? You don't like it? No, it's not that I don't like it. I just don't love it. I'm not going to go out and, drive the extra 15 minutes to go and get the pumpkin spice latte. It's just not me, right? So I go to, I mean, you talk about basic. I mean, in the reverse sense, I mean, I go to Starbucks and have a plain coffee.
Well, and I think the
coffee.
opposite happens as well if you like it. Because it's like, oh, well, you're a follower. I was like, I joked earlier. I'm like, I've been wearing flannel since the 90s, been eating pumpkin spice, whatever I get my hands on since I was little, and everything in between. And I like Uggs because they keep my feet warm. Does it mean I want to be a basic and that's why I do it?
Checking those boxes, lady.
But that's what it is. So it's that idea that you've got those who obsess about it and don't understand why anyone else doesn't like it. Then you've got those who won't even give it a chance because it's like, oh, well, no, that's what everyone does, and it's so trendy, therefore you can't like it.
Yes.
So there's that balance, I think, between the two.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm okay. I'm warming up to this whiskey.
The way I look at it, I don't have to share my pumpkin spice stuff, so it's kind of a bonus. What, you don't like it? Oh, that sucks.
Oh, that's too bad. That's when I start bringing all of my only favorite things here to drink for the whole week, and then you'll be like, what? So I'm going to put the recipe in for this. For the flatbread, the links to the LCBO things. She's going to give me the recipe to post for the coffee to make your own pumpkin spice lattes at home. It's time for you to start stocking up on condensed milk if you're doing Christmas baking anyways, because most of a lot of the grocery stores and stuff will start to have those products on sale.
The pumpkin starts to disappear too.
Right, yeah. Canned pumpkin, so the pumpkin puree. Please don't use pumpkin pie filling for any recipes. I don't know if anyone ever uses pumpkin pie filling, unless you just want to eat it with a spoon.
Like, what do you do with it?
You smush it. You can smush it in a tart. So you can actually do pre-baked tarts and then just spoon it in. It's like, that's a cheater way.
That's a big cheater way.
Correct. But it's not the same as pumpkin puree, right? So canned pumpkin, condensed milk, those are all the things that tend to go quickly anyways, so it doesn't hurt to start doing it now. And there's nothing saying you can't have pumpkin pie for Christmas, right? So a couple of things, we're actually working on our next live show. Unless we hear from people otherwise to go to a different town, we're doing it in Sudbury again, because we have we have more people showing up.
It's a lot of fun here.
It is fun. So I have a couple different locations lined up of where we might be going, what the topic might be. We will always have recipes and drinks and stuff associated with that live show. So make sure you're following us on all the social media channels so that you don't miss out, because depending on where the location is, we might be capping it at so many people, depending on capacity. And we never charge more than the cost to get into the event. We're not doing this to make money. We just think it's much more fun to tape with a whole pile of people. Having like 40 people in a room drinking together is a little.
We had a lot of fun last time.
It was a lot of fun. Actually, I was just talking to a few people who were at that one who stayed even after I left.
So they had a good time.
They weren't feeling very well the next day, and it all started from those margaritas at Finn McCool's. And then it I think that's why they went from margaritas and they went back to the Taz Rosé.
I think they did margaritas and they were doing tequila shots and they went to the Taz Rosé.
Oh, yeah.
Could have something to do with that too.
It could have been a little bit of that too. Anyhow, so I'll have a list of the LCBO products as well. So the pumpkin ale. So if you want to look for it at your own location, the LCBO or the beer store. And then the pumpkin spice whiskey is actually from our Cocktail Basics show, and I have actually got the link directly, so instead of you looking around for it, if you go to the show notes for this episode and you click on the link where it says Cocktail Basics, you'll go back to that show, you'll get your recipe for your pumpkin spice mimosa.
Champagne mimosa, thank you.
Yeah, the mimosa, as well as the link to the pumpkin spice whiskey. So you're getting like all kinds of recipes today, because it's that time of year. So I'm heading off to some business stuff. It's getting to be a busy thing, and you're leaving at the end of the week.
I'm going to Australia in 3 days. So all this excitement about fall, and I can't wait to get the heck away from it and go down under.
Yeah, so of course it's the opposite. So she's going to be looking for sunshine and beaches when the time.
Sunshine and spring.
Yeah, and all new things. That's right. Yep. So we'll be keeping you up to date on where she is and when she's going to be Skyping in for an episode. So I think that'll be a lot interesting. So we might be tweaking the episode listing depending on where she is and what timing and stuff. So make sure you rate and subscribe to us, of course, on Apple Podcasts, Breaker Radio, Spotify, or whatever podcast player you're listening to us on. And of course, follow us now on the YouTube channel. The more followers we have on the YouTube channel, of course, exactly the same thing is going to start, because this is brand new for us for the video section. Just like the podcast, the more subscribers we end up getting, the more we can see where people are watching and listening to us from. We can kind of tailor some episodes based on those locations. Rory's going to brush her teeth. And it gives us a lot more flexibility, and we want to have conversations with people and find out what topics are really interesting you, and we can always tell that by the stats for video and audio. So that's the way that works. And you'll notice that as I'm getting my video editing skills in order, because I learned something new.
Looking better and better.
Every week I learn a new little thing, and then I add it on. So like every episode's gonna have like one new little screen or one new little transition, or anyways, for all you nerds out there, you know what I'm talking about. So someday it's going to be like Academy Award winning.
We're going to be so fancy.
We're so fancy.
We're going to have our hair and makeup in the corner, touching us up in between.
Yeah, that's
my dream.
Someday. Until next week, I guess you can say enjoy your pumpkin spice week.
Cheers.
Cheers. What do you think about us podcasters doing this whole video thing? If you like what you see and you still have wine in your glass, there's more videos down below that you can always keep up. Or subscribe and you'll never miss another one.